Well, despite dropping a few more silly points in the league over the festive period and failing to make it into the top eight of the Champions League, meaning we have two extra fixtures in February, things are still going pretty well here at Southend United. We've got ourselves back into the title race and we've upgraded a couple of areas of the squad. But today is the end of the window and a real chance to get back in the hunt to defend our title. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 138 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. Despite some frustrations over the festive period, just silly results here and there, we have managed to edge our way back into a title race just, or does that depend on today's results? It is third v second as we face Arne Slot's Newcastle as he continues to get them competing near the top. He's turning into one of our big rivals and we seem to always have entertaining games. So I'm not going to complain about showing them. We've got a couple of injuries, but transfer news may well help us on that front. So if you're looking forward to all of it, seeing how we do in the Premier League, whether we can get closer to that Carabao Cup and seeing my big new signing, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. We're going to go through the schedule in a minute, but first we need to start in a transfer centre because it's been a busy January. The winter window has seen Joaquin Jimenez leave for Nottingham Forest, who could offer him the luxury of first team football. He wanted to go out and get it. There's no doubt he's a club legend, 230 league appearances. He's homegrown at the club now, but he's a little midfielder who's been caught out a little bit. He's probably not been at the level for a year or two. We'd kept him before for the luxury of having a homegrown player in the squad. We've got 5 or 6 now and probably don't need him. So Joaquin Jimenez, it may well have been his last appearance. Hopefully he'll come back next year and show he's a different level of player. But I'm not sure he's quite got it anymore. He's a good Premier League player. He's not a top one. And unfortunately, despite winning a few trophies with us, that might be the end of the road. The second one that went out, though, was really frustrating because Steve Charlton has left to Liverpool for 1.4 million. A 16-year-old winger who had a bit of promise. I was optimistic for his future, despite the fact he was left-footed, which didn't really suit me. He had already featured in a league and the cup for us. The biggest frustration for me, though, is that he refused 2 new contracts, didn't at any point look like he wanted to sign, and he was virtually wanted by Liverpool from the start, so we didn't really have a chance to get him settled in before other clubs came calling. So Steve Charlton moves on to Liverpool. I'm not heartbroken. He wasn't going to be a superstar of world football. I'm a bit annoyed because he's a player we could have made good money for in the future, and because he's been signed on an approach to sign deal as a youth player, it means we're not going to get the big sell-on fee that we would have negotiated ourselves. We'll only get that little one that's obligatory. Let's move on to the ins, though, where things are a little bit more exciting. We've pre-agreed both of these. You've probably seen them both at some point in recent episodes. But Martin Cusqueta is the first to join. Not featured really yet because he's had a few injuries since he's been in. But a new goalkeeper at 20 years of age. And I think this boy is a star for the future. Again, like most goalkeepers and defenders this year in FM, a very slight deficit on the jumping reach, just 12 for that, despite being 6 foot. But technically, he's the best goalkeeper we've got. Mentally, probably the best goalkeeper we've got. And he's fairly agile as well. So with huge potential, a professional personality, a wonder kid, and already an Argentine international on a fairly modest wage, I think maybe again after settling in, learning the language this year, might feature a lot more next season. His plan is to be number 2 next year with McNaughton dropping to 3. And the year after, maybe Bettini moves on and those two become the stars of the club. The final signing, though, is the one that I'm probably most excited about. We've been tracking this guy, as I mentioned last time, for maybe 6 or 7 years now. He's been at Barcelona, having stalled his development at United a bit. We've seen that story before in real life and FM. But for 57 million, having now reached his peak, Leighton Muscat joins Southend United. An elite attacking midfielder, a driven, determined Englishman, an international footballer, again on a wage that is competitive at our level. He is a player who I think by next year will be an absolute superstar for the club. Got great mental attributes, proper box-to-box midfielder, and technically he's still not the worst. I know he doesn't stand out, but his actual technique is decent. He's quick as well, likes to drive from midfield, and likes to carry the ball through the middle, which hopefully, the way we play on the counter-attack with those 2 threats out wide, he'll be the man who can drive through the middle, either getting into the box without the ball or taking the ball forward and spreading the play. So I just feel in comparison to Jimenez, that is a huge upgrade in the midfield area. And given some of the injuries we've had in the middle, I think he's someone who's going to feature a fair bit. Maybe not the technical superstar that a Bernberg or a Kivrakidis is, but a very good footballer nonetheless. And I'm happy to have him here. Let's go through and have a look at the schedule though and see how these signings have affected us this month. Because despite the fact I've had some frustrations, just silly drop points as you can see, it has been an unbeaten run and we are back in form. But as we mentioned when we came back after November, an unbeaten run means nothing if you're drawing every other game. This time though, we've turned it into a few more wins. We've got a lot better defensively. There's still been a little slip-ups, which in truth have stopped us being right in a title mix coming into this one. So you were with me for the triple header against Arsenal, United and Bayern. We followed it up with a 3-1 win at home to West Brom. We fell behind early in this game, but Ivanov scored a crucial goal just before the break. He added another, but not before Vite had put us in the lead. Against Aston Villa away in the Carabao Cup, a really exemplary performance. 2 for Ashley Carr and a hat-trick for Liban Elmi as we made light work of a very good side. Then no, we dropped stupid points again. 2-2 away at Fulham after a glut of goals in the first half, a Bettini mistake for one of theirs, and then we just couldn't break them down second period. Unfortunately, Joe Wills got knackered and Teddy Ivanov couldn't produce his usual magic. However, against Nottingham Forest, he did just that. A 3-1 victory, and all 4 goal scorers in this game, players we know pretty well. 3 of our current strikers, Carr, Fur and Ivanov, managed to make the game comfortable in the end. But Forest goal scorer, a former hero from Southend United and a man who always gets a very warm reception when he comes back. Diogo Fernandes, still a good player at 30 years of age, made it to Portuguese international honours and has scored a lot of goals in his career. Featured for us in our League One promotion season with 7 in 15. And then when we came back up to the Premier League, a few loan spells and a few goals. A very decent player, and to be fair, it was actually quite nice to see him score against us. Despite the Ashley Carr injury in this game, our best performance of the season followed the game after. Against Liverpool, we won by 3-0 against the leaders. We were magnificent from start to finish. Bettini in goal produced some big saves. The strikers looked a threat. Joe Wills got a couple ending a goal drought. And to be fair, Ivo Torres scored early on, again getting rid of all those demons from previous Liverpool encounters, including that Carabao Cup final. Opener scoring and helped make it comfortable, before a less comfortable win away at Brighton. Defended like beavers at the end of this one, but Nana Fair's early goal was enough to get the win. He also scored an early one, this time from the spot against Brentford. Teddy Ivanov got a second. We'd already conceded to go 1-0 down, but we completed the turnaround, and although it was ugly, we got another crucial 3 points. It wasn't quite so ugly against Southampton in the FA Cup. A hat-trick for Teddy Ivanov and Ashley Carr made it a very comfortable day at the office. But again, the slip-up followed. A 0-0 draw away at a Villa side that we'd beaten 5-1 in the Cup. And Bettini had to save our bacon in this one. We weren't great going forward at all. However, set pieces came to the fore against Everton as Lewis Herbert got a brace from corner kicks. Joe Wills popped up with one, and a rare goal for Luis Vasquez made it a very comfortable victory. We got the same scoreline away in Spain against Villarreal, and again, one of our best performances of the season. A hat-trick for Joe Wills and a goal for Teddy Ivanov. A 2-0 win in the 4th round of the FA Cup with Marciano and Kivrakidis on target from midfield. And Marciano picked up an injury, which keeps him out today. And then the 1-1 draw away at Atalanta. We conceded in the 88th minute, and that has led to this possible fixture congestion next month. Both legs of the Liverpool Carabao Cup semi-final are due to be moved due to the knockout round. But I don't know where they can go because the final's supposed to be the week after. So I'm really intrigued to see whether we're playing Liverpool second today or a Champions League match. We'll find out as we go along. For now though, the focus is on Newcastle and a chance we didn't expect to get back in the mix in the Premier League. We were 13 points behind, but now it is just 6. And if we can beat Newcastle, we become the closest contenders. So let's go and get through to it. The fixtures are upon us. Liverpool are not in action until tomorrow. They've got a tough game at United. So this is a chance for us to beat Newcastle, go second, and really pile the pressure on the leaders. If we go through the tactical meeting, a couple of key injuries today in Marciano and Yucalano. Both of them would probably have been on the bench. And we know it's a strong Newcastle team. We've played them probably 4 times on camera this year. And João Gomez, our former man, is a key one amongst their defence. So let's go and pick our 11 for this one. All changed from what we played in the Cup last time out. We'll be back in a minute to run through the team to take on Newcastle in what I'm sure will be another entertaining one at Steve Tilson Park. Well, it's very much a case of the tried and trusted when it comes to the first 11 today. We've been careful with our squad. I should just mention at the bottom as well, another player we've gained. Gouljorda's returned from his loan at Bodo Glint, the wonder kid. I'm trying to loan him out again, but at the minute we've had no offers. So if we don't get one by the end of the month, I can feature him. But I don't want him to have played for 2 clubs in the season and then not be able to get a game anywhere else. So that's the reason we've left him for now. Might be able to feature from next month. The rest of the squad, though, pretty much as expected. Hansen and Ivanov have got very heavy match loads and drop out. Most of the other heavy ones are on the bench, the likes of Bernberg, Ashley Carr and Muscat. But there are a couple that have had to start, particularly where we've not got Yukulano as a rotation on the right and in the middle of midfield, but Torres has not played many minutes. Same for Wills up front. So that means our 11 in full is probably, bar the choice between Kivrakidis and Bernberg, our known first choice 11. Adamson's returning from injury, but he's not fully fit, so we're sticking with Vasquez on the left. But the back 5 is the one I would pick if everyone's available. And they are. It's Bettini in goal, Memic and Carlos the fullbacks with Herbert and Rakowski in the middle. Robertson on the right, Vasquez over on the left, Kivrakidis joined by Ivo Torres. And up front is Joe Wills and Nana Fair, both of them scoring a lot of goals this season. To be fair, all the strikers are doing all right, they're sharing them out. But today, we need them to deliver on the big one. Newcastle United, always a game full of goals. Let's hope more of them are scored by us this time and in the right net to secure us a victory. Well, 5 changes today for on a slot side. We know the quality they've got. One of them's our former player. We've tried to sign 2 or 3 of the others, and we've had lots of tight games against them this year. We lost away in the league, if I remember rightly on camera. We've beaten them in the Community Shield. We drew in another competition in Europe, I think, wasn't it? So let's see which way we go on this one. I think it's 1-1-1 for the results either way. Who's going to get the extra win this year? Let's see. As we're into the first 10 minutes, it's been quiet so far. And it's Newcastle on the attack worryingly as Helguera on the left-hand side plays a 1-2. Cuts inside, goes for the shot. What I was about to say as this highlight was taking place is we've had such an improved defensive record recently that with our first choice defence out, I feel fairly confident. I'll be honest with you, I haven't played this save in about 4 days. I've come back and it seems to have disappeared again. So let's encourage the boys, try and get a reaction. Not a luxury we're going to have next year, is it? But for now, we're 1-0 down. We've only had 1 shot and we don't really look like scoring. It's back to square one again as we've got a free kick just inside the Newcastle half. We could really do with getting one back from a set piece. Just getting ourselves on terms and having a chance to build. Now stay on side, everyone. Kivrakidis will deliver to the back post. Torres is up. Away only as far as Wills. To Rakowski. Plays in Jorg Robertson. Really well worked. And great decision, Rakowski. He could have done the wild centre-half shot there. Saw his name in lights. But he saw Robertson 8 yards out unmarked. He laid it to him. And we're back on terms undeservedly. And now we're straight back defending as Beneke finds more. And Davy goes back to his centre-half again. Every Newcastle player in our half and comfortable. As Lozano just drops into the centre circle to get it. And now Zanelli to Beneke. And again out wide, we've been outplayed. Not really great, is it? We don't look like we're pressing them. We're standing off the ball. And this isn't the plan. We're normally there to win it back and counter at speed. Though Torres does nick it. Dodgy back pass, but not the first time we've said that about him. The clearance is awful from Bettini though. And we're straight back in trouble again. He wasn't under pressure either. Davy gets the ball into the box. Up goes the midfielder. It's away as far as Gomez, our former player. Delivers the cross. And now we've started conceding goals for fun. Why does it always happen when you close the game? I mean, to be fair, we have been dropping silly points. This has been the story, hasn't it, of this season. Every month or so, we just throw in a silly result. It would be nice at the very least to keep the unbeaten run going. So I'd like to get a draw out of this one if we can. The confidence is dropping quickly. And with 10 minutes to the break, you can't argue that Newcastle have been the better side. They've dominated the game. They've had more of the chances. And while it's probably not a 2-1 match, they certainly deserve to be ahead. A big half-time team talk as we head through the dressing room. I'm not going to say prove a point. I'm going to say show me something else. That wasn't good enough. I'll give you 15 minutes to fix it. And then the big guns are coming on if you don't deliver. Well, it's all going wrong now. We've got 25 to go. It's a Newcastle free kick. It's terrible defending. And Kivrakidis has picked up an injury as well. So we're going to have to make some changes. Aguiman will be on at right back. He's now transfer listed by request. Kivrakidis will be replaced by, it's got to be Bernberg. Adamson will come on for Vasquez, who's been poor. And then up front, do I do both? I think we do both. Nana Fair off for Ashley Cart, who has been a saviour at times this year. And Liban Elmi on up front, who scored a hat-trick last month, which might be enough for us soon. Let's go and encourage the boys once more. And then when we get to the final 15, we'll go attacking if we're still behind. No, Adamson's got a corner. And Aguiman, the substitute at right back. Probably of the 5 we're bringing on, I thought the least likely to contribute to scoring and equalising. But a big header from a set piece, a really important goal. And now we're back on terms. We're 20 to push on. Adamson into the box to Herbert, who heads wide. Set pieces, definitely the main threat for us. It's where both of the goals have come from. But from open play, Newcastle look far the better team. Robertson's not had a rest today either, which is going to be a worry. We're 10 minutes remaining. Can we find a goal? I'm going to go attacking with 5 to go. Yes, this result isn't a disaster, but it's not going to help us win the title. As John puts it in, Aguiman, crucial header at the other end this time. Only as far as Lozano, though. We've been sucker punched. And unfortunately, that's what you get for gambling sometimes. We go 3-2 down. And I've got to say this in this save. It doesn't matter what form you're in defensively, offensively, whether you're not conceding at all, not scoring at all. If you play Newcastle United, it's going to be a thriller. The expected goals suggested it probably should have been a 1-0 or a 1-1 game. As it is, Newcastle win by 3-2. And I think that might be us back out the title race pretty much as quickly as we were in it. Let's go and see how much our hard work has been undone and find out what on earth's happening with the schedule as we look ahead to either a Carabao Cup or Champions League tie. Deadline day in between as well, but other than 1 or 2 outs, I don't expect much to happen. Well, transfer deadline day has been a pretty quiet one when it comes to players in and out so far, but we've got the Champions League playoff knockout round draw, and I'm just going to skip it to find out who we're facing and what on earth happens to the schedule. So let's get our opponents first, who will be Borussia Mönchengladbach, a tie that is tough but winnable. I'm sure we would expect to get through that if we want to win these competitions. Now let's see what on earth has happened here. So we have got, right, 4 games back to back. That's pretty ridiculous. So in that case, should we just do Hull on camera today and then do 2 games in succession, Gladbach and Liverpool, then Gladbach and Liverpool, make it a 2-parter across both competitions? Seems like the perfect way to do it, doesn't it? So we're going to skip ahead to the Hull game, get that one done today, because Liverpool didn't take full advantage in the Premier League. And if we can win that one, we've still got a little bit of a sniff, even though Spurs have gone past us. So we're going to come back for Hull because the Premier League is now tight again. And then we'll be showing all 4 of those big games on camera over 2 episodes for the rest of the week. Let's get through to the Hull match. We'll be back in a minute for kickoff. Well, after our result against Newcastle, this becomes must win. Liverpool have won the early kickoff to stretch the lead back to 10, meaning we need to get it back down to 7. Newcastle have got a tough game against City. Spurs are on the road, but should be a pretty easy game for them. They go to Norwich. And if we get through to the League Cup final beating Liverpool, guess who's there waiting? Yes, it will be Newcastle United again. We're becoming a bit of a bogey side this year. Let's get through the tactical meeting note and see who's fit. I've no idea what to do with the squad today because which teams do I prioritise? Do I go for the Champions League or the League Cup? I feel I have to play my first team in the Champions League and then maybe rest some against Liverpool. But the match loads are generally pretty light. Nana Fair has picked up a knock since last week. So I'm going to mull over this team for a minute and we'll be back to run through it in a second. Well, I've stuck to a fairly similar squad to last time, but I have taken out the couple that have got heavy match loads. So it's Soren Hansen who comes in at the back for Akoski. We've actually had a better defensive record in the last month or 2 when Soren Hansen has played, rather worryingly. And then a bit of a surprise move on the right of midfield. I've just taken the opportunity to give Robertson a rest and build up Adamson for an hour. Then if we're winning comfortably, we can chuck maybe like Elmi out on the right. If we need to bring him on, Robertson still on the bench. The rest of the team, though, bar the enforced one up front with Carr coming in for Nana Fair, is the same. So only 3 changes from the team that embarrassed themselves defensively against Newcastle. Can they make amends and get the victory today? Because anything other than a victory in this one, and I think for the second time this season, we can declare ourselves out of any title race. Maybe it's a good thing to focus on the cups, but with 4 big games coming in those competitions and us naturally falling further behind in the league schedule, we've got to get points on the board to stay within touching distance. At Hull, we'll hope to do it. Well, here is the Hull City team, and it is a former club legend on the left-hand side, as Sam Amiu is lining up against us. Has scored a few goals this season for them, so let's hope we can keep him quiet today. A bit of a club legend, though not at the level we need now. So let's say this is a match we should be winning. Boys, you've got to produce a performance. Defensively, it'd been good until the last game recently, but you keep throwing in silly results, and I can't afford another one. Well, I talked about the defence again. Both centre-halves on a booking within 10 minutes, as Sam Amo is doing the defending against us. Clears long downfield for Hull City. Why have we all backed off? McGregor gets the touch in. Hansen does well. Went to ground though on a yellow, which is maybe a concern. Adamson on the right goes back to Memic. It's going to be weird seeing an inverted winger today, as Torres finds Joe Wills. Adamson is out there, and Wills finds him. Chance to cross. 2 in the middle if he can deliver. Instead just cuts back to Memic, who goes into the box unopposed, and Armin Memic gets the shot in. Did what Rakowski didn't in the last game, which is saw his name in lights, and instead of playing the pass, went for the glory. This time it's a corner kick though. Did well enough to keep it on target in fairness. Corner's punched away unconvincingly, and Carl finds Carlos. Pressure's still on, but it does peter out. We've still only managed 1 shot on target. Not the best start to this game, as it's a throw-in for Hull at the other end. Do not start conceding goals again now. This could be a disaster. Bent on the right-hand side, delivered into Solomon. Back to Bent again. Solomon again. Oh, what's happening? I've closed and reopened the game, and I've encountered a championship team again. What's happening? You cannot tell me that the curse isn't real. Because after 20 minutes, the first shot on target they've had, and it's 1-0 to Hull City. I did not see this coming. I was feeling incredibly confident coming into this one. And with 5 to the break, we've been the better side. We've had more of the chances. But Newcastle are winning. Liverpool have won. And we're losing at the moment. It is a big concern. Half time, 1-0 down. Where has this come from? I'm a bit worried. Do you know why? I'm recording an episode from the other series after this. And I haven't played that one for 3 days either. Oh, don't do this to me. An absolutely shocking performance. I mean, we've not offered a lot going forward, but we shouldn't have conceded. Thankfully, Newcastle are now behind, and at the hour mark, I'm left questioning what do I do. Ashley Carr's going back into one of those stupid runs. He's not scored for 5 now. He's going to come off for Teddy Ivanov, the great saviour, the worst rated striker at the club, but always delivers. We're going to bring Bernberg on for Kivrakidis in the middle. Robertson will have to come on. Vasquez will switch sides to come off. Adamson will go over to the left. I mean, Hansen's been a disgrace, so we're going to bring Rakowski back on there. And then the only other option, do I go for it with Muscat? I'm gonna. Ivo Torres off, Leighton Muscat on. Hopefully that sends out a message. Half an hour for the new boy to become a hero. We'll give it 10 before going attacking. Look at Memic and Bettini. Sort your attitudes out. Where has this come from? As Robertson plays the 1-2 with Memic into Ivanov. Cleared away as far as the right-hand side again. Robertson will recycle possession. And he looks for the ball in. Look at him fresh off the bench. Shots over the bar. He's a creative spark. We're missing a lot of it at the minute. We're going to go attacking with 15 to go. We're going to berate them. I mean, the performance has been abysmal. And I don't really know what's happening to Memic at right back either. It has been a proper FM in so far. Hull have had 1 shot on target and scored it, though we've not done enough. As Bernberg goes back to Herbert. Brings the ball into midfield. In the end, just plays short to Rakowski. And Muscat, the new boy, surges down the right, powering with possession into Teddy Ivanov. And the 2 subs have delivered. Muscat down the right. Ivanov becomes top scorer for the year. And yet again, he's defying the odds. He's outperforming the 4 better strikers. Now we've got 10 minutes to go and win it. We're still attacking. We're still throwing forward. But we're not creating anything at the moment. Can we just get 1 more chance? There's only 3 added on. And this, I've got to be honest, is a disaster of an episode. Another one of those stupid away draws that we've thrown in so many times this year. I think our away record's pretty abysmal this season. I'd love to have a look at it. We're going to have to get the Premier League table up. Because we have been so bad on the road. We're not going to win it this year. And that was going to happen eventually. But these next 4 games are huge against Borussia Mönchengladbach and Liverpool. And if we don't get through in those 2 ties, or at least one of them, we're not going to win possibly any trophy, but certainly not the ones that are missing. It's becoming a frustrating season, this. We go and have a look at our away form overall. What have we been like this year? Yeah, not great. 4 wins away from home out of 13. 4 out of 13. 6 draws on the road. Forget the 3 defeats. That happens every year. But the 6 draws are costly. And look at the teams we've drawn against. Bristol City. Chelsea were bottom half last year. Fulham and Hull. They're points we weren't dropping before. And that's 8 points. That puts us right back in the mix. That is the difference this season. Let's go and have a look at the schedule. You know when we're going to be back. We're going to be showing all of the next 4 games because it's the 2 competitions we haven't won. It's 2 blockbuster ties over 2 weeks where we've got 10 days, 4 matches. We've got to rotate the squad. It will be first team in the Champions League, backup team against Liverpool. God knows what's going to happen because both teams look pretty average at the minute. And yet again, the form is starting to dwindle. There were worrying signs against Atalanta. I thought we'd see them through after 5 clean sheets in a row before it. Now we look all over the place and most of the strikers aren't scoring. Not a good time to be a Southend United fan. It's all going wrong at the crucial point. Are we going to be under pressure soon? I don't know. If you want to stay up to date and see if we can win either of the 2 trophies that elude us, or maybe just salvage our season with something this year, then please do put a thumbs up on it, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. I'm sure you're enjoying seeing me suffer a little bit more this year. We'll be back tomorrow with the coach's head, a big finale to the season to come in that one this week. But for now, thank you very much for watching, for joining me for another week as always. It's not been a pleasant start to it. We're going to need a response. And in the next 4 games, we're going to be really tested. Hopefully, we can stand up to it.